All right, so let me just share my screen. All right, hello and welcome to our Careers in STEM seminar. My name is Dahlia and I'm a student at Johns Creek High School.
My name is Annika and I'm also a student at Johns Creek.
And then so we have like this survey for our meeting, just so people will be able to give us suggestions and feedback about our meeting so we can improve them in the future. So I'll put that in the chat for everyone. All right, and let's proceed.
Yeah, so for those of you who are new here, and as a reminder to those who aren't, CSTEM is a nonprofit student-led STEM outreach organization. We aim to connect classroom curriculum to real-life careers by introducing you to the various professions in the STEM field. We hope to encourage many or all of you to pursue careers in STEM.
All right, so during the seminar, we have invited two very accomplished software engineering professionals. We will start with a short talk by each of them and then continue with a Q&A. So throughout the presentation, we hope you will learn more about their job responsibilities, educational background, and useful advice you may take with you on your similar pursuits of STEM careers. So if you missed this seminar or part of it, it will be recorded and available on YouTube.
Yeah, so our first guest speaker is Mr. Tony Dunbar. Mr. Tony is a software engineer at Shift 4 and has been professionally employed in the software engineering industry for 25 years. Prior to that, he attended the University of Georgia and Georgia State University to pursue a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. He has also attained an associate's degree from DeVry Institute of Technology in Digital Electronics. Throughout his career, Mr. Dunbar has worked as a software engineer in several different sectors and industries, including Colonial Oil Industries, ABC and Disney, AT&T, Delta Airlines, McKesson, and many others.
Mr. Tony is currently employed as a full-time software engineer with Shift 4. At Shift 4, he applies his experience and skills to lead software engineers in developing next-generation solutions in the commerce industry. When he is not working as a software engineer, he remains very involved in education. He is also currently the director of a small math school called Progress Math, an education institution that teaches mathematics to grades K through 9. He is passionate about mentoring youth, and his students have used the math they've learned to build working drones, programming, microcontrollers, and other hands-on projects. Let's welcome Mr. Dunbar.
Hi, folks. Thank you. Thanks, you students, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my experiences and hopefully a little bit of wisdom that will do you well in your pursuit of your careers. So what I'm not going to do, unless there's questions later on, is talk about myself. I've been in this industry a long time, many years, and lots of things have changed with regard to software engineering and technology. So some of the challenges that I faced through my pursuit of education and into the industry is not necessarily the same difficulties or challenges that you're going to face. So what I'd probably rather focus on is the more relevant challenges that I believe that you'll face, and let me help you with navigating this industry. So one of the things that I would like to share with you, some of the famous quotes that I have guided my career by. Probably my favorite quote is from Sir Isaac Newton, And he made this quote in the context of scientific discovery. And what Sir Isaac Newton said, if I can see further than others, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of giants. And what he meant by that is that anything we do as software engineers, we are building upon those who have come before us, right? None of us are going to be the original inventor or designer or engineer for something that's brand new, right? All of our discoveries, we need to give credit and be humble about those who have come before us, and that will help you more than any technology that we choose to learn on our own. So that's that's my famous quote. My second favorite one is from Steve Jobs, and I live by this every day. I actually have a picture, that quote on the wall. Every morning I come into work, and you're seeing my office. Steve Jobs said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle." So Steve Jobs said that, and I live by that every day. And I'm reminded of it when I come and sit at my desk and I am programming or developing. So now, throughout the rest of this discussion, I'll talk about my third. Nikola Tesla is probably the most influential engineer, not just from software, but just engineer in general. A lot of our technology that we use today, everything from our mobile devices to our desktop computers, none of this technology would be possible had it not been for the inventions of Nikola Tesla. And just from an general engineering perspective, he has a lot of quotes, and I'll mention some of those throughout our discussion. But Mr. Tesla was a great engineer. Unfortunately, he died penniless. With all these contributions, he died alone and penniless. He did not get the credit until long after time has passed. So aside from that, what can I share to help you with your career? Let's talk about some of your education goals with regard to software engineering. One of the things that I would like to let's say, set the record straight is I follow social media, and there's this probably some miscommunications or nasty rumors about what education goals are required to be a software engineer. So let's, for a second, set titles aside, whether you call it a developer, software engineer, programmer, coder, whatever colorful euphemism we want to refer to being a software engineer. Let's just set the titles aside and focus on what is it that you want to do? Where do you want your career to go? What direction? And there are dozens of different field choices, and all of them require some level of education. And I don't mean just college or trade school. There's different sources of educational material. A lot of engineers proclaimed that they were self-taught, and that is good. But let me caution you: you can learn a programming language very easy, right? And if that's all you know, you have a very narrow perspective on software engineering. Just knowing a programming language does not make you a computer scientist. So where do you want to take your career? Do you want to save the world with software, right? Do you want to invent the next greatest social media platform? Well, if those are two things that you want to do, then you're going to need a lot more education than you are capable of learning on your own. Self-teaching is a narrowly focused means of education. I'm not saying it's not relevant, it's not good, but as technology has progressed, it has been totally expected that programming languages are self-taught. As a matter of fact, in most computer science curriculums across, I know in this country and probably in other countries, you're not taught programming language. That is not, matter of fact, most programming languages are an elective. You don't even have to take them for a computer science degree. Professors believe that you should be able to pick up a language syntax on your own. So that's not what they teach. You'll notice that now it's been some decades since I attended college, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed much. Whether you attend MIT or Georgia Tech, you'll take classes on data structures or microprocessor design, things like that. And nowhere do they mention taking a class on Java or Pascal or Rust or Ruby or Python. You should be able to pick those up on your own for a number of reasons, whether they're more intuitive now or they are just more capable programming languages. So the other thing is that you need to understand what do you want to do, right? Not just where you want your educational goals, but where do you want your career? And you may be content with just being a narrowly focused career on, I want to just learn Python. I just want to be a Java developer. My choice, my background is in computer science. My past employers, all of them, have never hired me because of any one programming language. Most of my employers have had very disparate systems that required all of those skills, and they wanted an engineer that could tie those systems together. I had some very, very interesting projects that I worked on where I was the engineer to bridge the gaps between mainframe systems and some of the PC or mid-range software engineers. So a lot of my mentoring and involvement and leadership had to do with getting groups of developers whose skill was in different languages and getting those systems to communicate. So that's where I have that is what's fulfilled me in my career. And so what I'd like you to do is to spend some time while you're in high school and find out, where do you want to go? What do you want? What do you want your role to be? And then let's talk about what educational goals that you will need in order to make that successful for you. So those are two very important topics. But like Steve Jobs says, no matter what path you decide, you have got to love what you're going to do. Otherwise, it's going to be very visible, and your employers are going to see that you're not. If you don't love what you're going to do, it's going to show. You're not going to be able to hide that. If you follow social media, I'm not a big social media fan, but I use it where I have to with regard to my career. I have a Twitter account that I use professionally, and somehow I got put on the Twitter accounts for the programming fields, and I see lots of developers. So they claim that talk about, well, my language is the best. They're some of the most, so it's very entertaining for me. It's not very useful, but it is very entertaining. I see a lot of conjecture back and forth on everybody has a different favorite programming language, and they believe that's the one that will rule all other programming languages. I mean, it's that ridiculous now. So please don't. So the only advice I can give there is please take everything that you get off the internet with a grain of salt, and don't let that dissuade you from your career choice. Do your homework. Okay. Let's see. And we talked about your choice of higher education. College isn't for everybody. A big university isn't for everybody. And again, it's not necessarily going to determine the ceiling that you're going to reach. I love college. I love the campus life. I love everything about it. I'm a lifelong learner. Like I said, I've been in this industry for over 30 years, and I'm still learning. Right, I love to learn, and I love to pass on what I have learned. So you can work on your education, again, self-teaching, online curriculum. There's a number of more and a growing number of universities that are posting their curriculums online now. And of course, there is the traditional college and technical trade schools, for that matter. But please, 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 don't just rely on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook for your education. That's and I'll tell you, Nikola Tesla had a quote that addresses this. Even though Twitter wasn't around in the early 1900s, Tesla must have imagined it. And I'm gonna read this to you. So of all things, I like books best. He simply said, of all things, I like books best. Now, why did he say that? The message behind that simple quote is that he was the engineer that he liked to read, right? He liked to read books, whether it was printed on a piece of paper or a bound book, or it was on a tablet, right? He liked to read books. He gained his education and knowledge from reading books published by other authors. And the reason that is important to him is because the publishing of a book is such a rigorous activity that it acts as an automatic filter for content, right? If you're just getting educated from a blog, and I'm not diminishing the importance of blogs, but if you are just learning from content in something that took a minute or two to articulate, there's no rigor involved in the authoring of that material. And universities have taken care of that for you. So when you go to college, everything published at a college or university has had rigor in developing that curriculum, and that university has approved everything that's a part of their curriculum. In other words, it was published by an author, and each school in that university has an administration staff that has rigorously vetted the professionals that produce that curriculum. And that's what's necessary. And that's why engineers like Tesla passed on this advice that we should not be afraid of reading or research. That's where you should do your research. And things like Twitter or Facebook, they're okay. Again, they're very entertaining, and a lot of times we can use them to gauge where the industry is. Please don't depend on social media for your content. What else can I want to talk about now? How about I open this up for some questions so far? Any questions on what we talked about so far? I mean, I certainly am capable of talking about specific technologies if you're interested. Oh, I know what I wanted to discuss. Several years from now, how do I get started? You'll ask yourself. I'm not quite sure where I want to go education-wise, but I do eventually. I want a job or a career. I want to start a career with a good paying job in this industry but everybody wants experience. How do I get that? This is, if you don't learn anything else, I'm gonna give you some advice on how to do that. And it's actually a much better environment today than it was decades ago when I was coming up. You literally had to go to some company and get them to give you a chance. It's actually possible to not have to do that because of how technology and the virtual world has worked. This is what I want you to do. I want you to, even right now, even before you learn programming, and some of you may already familiar with some programming language, I want you to just surf the internet in the open source community. I want you to get familiar with a lot of the lingo and the terminology with regard to the open source community. And then I want you to find a project. Now, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of projects, of open source projects that are out there. And I want you to find something that interests you. It doesn't have to be a specific language. There are thousands of them, different categories. There's something for everybody. Find your favorite open source project. And your goal should be to get listed as a contributor on that project. Open source projects are just that. They're open source. They're open to the general community. You don't need a sign on, a user ID. You do, however, will need a user ID and password, and that's what you want. You want to volunteer to contribute to someone's open source project, right, as a contributor. And the easiest, simplest thing to do to be listed as a contributor, you can write documentation. Get to know that open source project, right? Get to know that open source project. Download it, right? Run it, learn something about it. That's one thing that most engineers that are already employed hate to do, and that is write documentation. For whatever reason, Mike, I love writing documentation. So if I code something, I'm going to be the one, I want to be the one to write the documentation for. For whatever reason, nobody else thinks like that. So the open source community is sorely short on documentation. So if you want to get a foot in the door into your first career job, there is nothing more compelling than listing that on your resume. It's on your resume. Remove all of your college classwork, right? You want that first employer to look at your resume and see the word professional written all over. You don't want them to see intern or student. In my opinion, you could contribute at the same level as a professional can, but what you want is your resume saying, I'm a professional software engineer or professional, and here's proof that I'm a contributor on this particular open source project. And of course, you'll have those links, and your potential employer will be able to navigate those links, and if not see your work, you'll get credit for it, right? It's not like you need any other person involved to help you make that decision. So with that, any questions so far of anything I said?
I received a question. So one of them asked, what are some specific job projects you do as a software engineer?
So with my current employer, when I said in the commerce industry, you guys have seen these things, right? Every time you buy a hamburger, shop at Walmart or drugstore, you see these things. These are, handheld devices where you slip your credit card. So that right now, that is primarily what we do at Shift 4. We write the software that runs on these devices. In restaurants, football game, concession stands, you name it, those devices are everywhere. And every time you swipe your credit card, we exchange that credit card, we communicate with the bank, and payment processing is a very complex that involves multiple systems in order to get that approved, whether it's a debit card, credit card, or gift card. It's a very complex process. And we have to, everything from transfer monies from different accounts, from either your personal account to the bank and to the merchant, right? Everybody has to get paid. There are a lot of things that have to go right in order to make that. So that's currently what I work on at Shift 4. I've had through my career, I've had lots of interesting jobs. I have worked at Colonial Oil Industry. One of my first projects, I built a point of sale system for Colonial Oil Industries. They own the Inmart gas stations all across South Georgia. I'm assuming you've done some traveling in Georgia, but there are hundreds of convenience store service stations in South Georgia. One of the first systems I wrote was a system that on a nightly basis would unattended contact each point of sale system in those service stations and download that transaction data and deposit it on their headquarters computer for processing. I did one of my first. And the fun thing about that project is they would actually, I worked remotely a lot, but sometimes they needed me to travel to Savannah, Georgia. Their headquarters in Savannah, Georgia. They would fly a private jet here to Atlanta, pick me up and take me to Savannah, and I'd work, and that private jet would bring me back. That was pretty neat. First time I got to ride on a private jet to work at no cost. So that was fun. I've worked on software for DJs. I've worked on systems for ABC and Disney. That was interesting. It was what we call optimization problem. So if you notice, have you ever seen the television commercials where they are just absolutely annoying? Like right now, Liberty Mutual is probably the most annoying television commercial there has to be. I'm just sick of them. But there's a reason to that madness. A software has calculated statistically how to get Liberty Mutual the most bang for their buck. So commercials are filmed in like 15-minute slots. They're presented. And so sometimes, because a computer chose it, a computer may have said, well, these two 15-second slots side by side is the best place to put a Liberty Mutual commercial. So that's why sometimes you see the same commercial back to back. And that's called placement, commercial placement. And some companies have bidded for these primetime slots. So software, statistical analysis software, has automatically chosen those spots. So that's what I did for ABC. Another neat project for in Europe, Eurostar in Europe is a train system, and Great Northern is also a train system. So if you ever travel to Europe, you will ride a train. There's just no way to travel around Europe and not use a train. And so what we do is we also maximize, in order to help the train systems maximize their profit, we can calculate based on the time of day and the network traffic. When people travel, they're traveling in a big, complicated network. People are going in all different directions. And so this is a field in industrial engineering, by the way. If you go to college and study industrial, this is a typical problem that you will solve in industrial engineering. Where the software engineering comes in, someone has to talk with those industrial engineers to understand how to build a system that does this. And that's what we did for Eurostar and Great Northern. We also did it in a set of train tracks is no different than in the skies with an airplane, right? airplanes, Delta, we wrote took the same system and changed some configuration so that it could be used for the airline. If you want to know why two people sitting on an airplane, sitting right next to each other, can pay dramatically different prices for an airline ticket, you can blame me and some of my colleagues because we use revenue management to calculate the price, the optimal price someone is willing to pay based on their time of departure. In other words, a business traveler is willing to pay more to get to a business meeting than a leisure traveler who has booked a trip 2 months in advance, right? They are both willing to pay different amounts of money. So the trick is with software and statistical analysis is to compute what is the optimal time to change the price of a ticket. And that's what the airlines are doing. They're flipping switches and changing the price of a ticket. So the closer to time of departure, they are increasing the cost of that ticket via some steps to maximize their revenue. And the effect that it has is that Delta Airlines wants every seat in that plane filled and no more. They don't want to push people away or send people away. That's called a denied boarding. So you want the plane full and you don't want anybody to get turned away. And that's how you maximize profit for the airline. So that's another area that software engineers, but it's not just about, web development or Python. That's where your computer science education really kicks in, right? You're learning how to manipulate data structures, and software engineering is just one big abstraction operation. You're literally taking real world problems and abstracting them, and then we use programming languages to take that abstraction and implement a solution in software. Right? So what else can I tell you? Other interesting projects. How am I doing on time? Am I overstepping?
I think it looks good. If there are any more questions, we can take one more.
Well, this may be a false observation, but it seems a lot harder for it seems to be a lot harder for people without experience to get like even entry-level jobs these days. Is it still possible to get a good job in the tech industry without internship experience?
Let me see if I understood you right. Can you still get a good job without the intern experience?
Yeah, without internship experience. Like out of college, you wouldn't have much. But
So I'm gonna tell you a secret, right? When you leave college, right? I know you're eager and we are enthusiastic about everything we learn, but the best advice is to leave the student behind. When you walk, all you need is some competency and confidence, right? The only reason you get hired as an intern is because you asked to be an intern, right? You applied for an intern position. My recommendation, if you have done everything you can do and you have that confidence and you're confident, by all means, present yourself as an engineering professional, and on your resume, have your resume to back that up. Like I said, if you have spent at least a year contributing to an open source project, you are a professional. I promise you, you know what, if you don't share the fact, and most companies, IT companies, use recruiting firms to hire you. They don't know, the only way they're going to know you just graduated are the dates. right? But if you present yourself as a professional and not as an intern, they will treat you like a professional. They will present you to a client as a professional. So that's the secret. Because you know what, most IT companies are looking for somebody to hit the ground running, right? And so if you know your stuff, I mean, my recommendation is that go for it. Go for it. The worst that can happen is that you may not be qualified for that particular job. But if you have that experience on the open source side, you're just as qualified as someone else, right?
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that will be our last question for you. So thank you so much.
Okay.
So,
Wait, one more thing. I apologize, but I'm going to have to drop off. I would love to hear Mr. Koul's talk. I'd love that name.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, man. But good luck, and please send me the link. I've got another obligation I need to attend. But
thank
send
you
me
so
the
much
link,
for your
and I would
time.
love to watch Mr. Koul's discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so our next speaker is Mr. Ritesh Koul. Mr. Koul is the seasoned high-impact IT leader with a broad strategic perspective and a proven track record of growing businesses through the delivery of technical solutions. With over 2 decades of professional experience, he specializes in developing and deploying complex multidisciplinary solutions that create compelling continuous business value and help build sustainable competitive advantage for clients. He manages a distributed team of cross-functional resources across different geographies and continues to be a servant leader to his teams. Mr. Koul serves as the Vice President of Digital Solutions and Delivery at Pyramid Consulting and has been with the company since 2012. He developed strong relationships with key client stakeholders and others to position Pyramid Solutions as a partner for innovation and collaboration. Before joining Pyramid Consulting, he assumed senior positions with Netcracker, Convergys, and Ampersand in the field of software design, development, and architecture. Mr. Koul has expertise in digital transformation, digital technologies, InsurTech, distributed agile teams, design thinking, leadership, cloud, and AI. Let us welcome Mr. Koul.
Thank you, Annika. Thank you for those kind words. And my apologies, Delia, that I couldn't join early enough. I'm a slave to my calendar, and mentally I thought Sunday is not a day when I'll be working. With that said, thank you all. Thank you all for spending your Sunday with me. And I think Tony gave you some good, strong fundamentals to work with. And I'm going to kind of extend that conversation towards where we are going in the IT industry as a whole and where you guys can position yourself. Now, you are at the greatest precipice ever. You guys will come out of college, 4-year college or grad school. You guys will have the ability to make such deep, deep impact that's unthinkable. I hold 2 masters in computer science. And when I did my first master's, we had a limitation to the amount of memory we could use to do high fidelity computation, usually with data stores. When I finished my second master's, Google had solved that problem because Google itself is a complex web of information retrieval on open source system. So there is a gradual trajectory of how the complexity of the hardware is reducing and our ability to solve world problems is increasing. As of now, any one of you can step out after this conversation and set up a company. It's $20 to get a domain. You can set up a web page. The company that gives you the domain may be able to help you set up a nice web page. You can announce it's you and you intend to solve a problem A. A problem with a social impact. It could be a problem of a global concern. It could be a problem that is close to your heart. it has nothing to do where you are in your life, because the ability to do that, you don't need to buy any hardware. There is cloud available where computationally expensive queries can be. You have the ability to engage through Twitter and through LinkedIn with folks who have validated experience in the field, and you can engage with them. You can go to Y Combinator, from where so much has come out. So where you are, and I'm speaking from the realm of software engineering, software development, which is my strong points, where I current work too. It's amazing that the only aspect that the human mind was challenged by was the sense of memory, the sense of processing capability, the sense of equipment we have. That's not a concern anymore. We are in a world wherein we have cloud computation, massive AI algorithms that can be written, information retrieval, information stores with our own petabytes, massive petabytes. The Library of Congress in down DC, which holds every book in the world, can be compressed inside and X number of bytes, and it could be petabytes, and that could be stored in any data center. So we are only now by our imagination. Now, there is another aspect, and that's pretty cool, that this country has committed itself to STEM and STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and management. The idea is mathematics. Sorry, the idea is that US is saying to the world that we are going to commit to STEAM and STEM programs. We will have engineering discipline where high schoolers can help learn more and get acclimatized to more engineering technology programs. And on the other side, there is an industry hungry for talent. There is an industry which will find you places. There is an industry which has so many areas really looking for STEM and STEAM kids to come and solve. The university programs are designed now to get more closer, and I love that, more closer to the industry problem. When I did my grad school, we had a lot of classical engineering going on in our courseware, the 700 level courseware, the 600 level courseware, because computer science and software engineering was an amalgamation, computer engineering, hardware engineering, software engineering. Now the disciplines have been divided. You're in information system, INST, or you're in computer science, or you're in computer organization, or you're in advanced analytics. Advanced analytics is right now the hottest ticket in town. If you can use your mathematical modeling, your statistical technique, and find an R or a Python algorithm with that, you are making a mind-boggling impact to what areas you like. You like marketing? Well, they need decision scientists. You like something that is very regulatory driven, insurance, they need decision scientists. So no part of your STEM education is going to get wasted. It is an investment. So anytime you're in your high school and you're learning maths or science, and you're like, well, I don't think I'm going to, maybe all I need to be good in Java or Ruby or Python or a Go language. No, it is the fundamentals of it. It's the principles of it. Where you are, as smart as you all are, you can absorb it better. The absorption of those engineering curriculums, the STEM curriculums in your high school, and as you advance on your way to your undergrad and close your undergrad on a successful, gratifying loop, you have absorbed everything inside you that the industry needs. And the industry is ready. And industry has areas where you can connect directly. I'll tell you the hottest topics that I see that the industry is really looking for you graduate college and come out quickly is cybersecurity, is a healthy startup culture, is AI and machine learning, is data analytics, is networking. All of this there, and we just don't have enough people. I recruit out of tech, out of GSU, UGA, and sometimes from KSU, Kansas State. We recruit everybody, and we find a place and a spot where we can encourage them to explore more. And as we hire resources, we are aware that they do not have the multidisciplinary skills they may need to be successful in the job, but they can still contribute, and we see them contributing very consciously, and it's okay. You know, Tony had a phenomenal career. Look at him. He has worked in different industries. He has depth. He has breadth. He is such a good speaker, and he did point about contributing to open source projects is phenomenal. If you have a desire towards, you want to put badly, do that. So it may catch somebody's eye, but yet you can start your day one in contributing directly to the value of the projects. For that is just continue being in the umbrella of STEM and STEAM. Pick up your courses, look up the university that you want to go to, find a path to that university. Some of the universities are feeder to very high-tech Silicon Valley, hot big tech companies. Some, if not, have got the ability to enrich you with the right curricula. Yes, your programming is a key part of what you want to do, but computer science and software engineering is very eclectic. It's business analyst. It needs mathematicians. It needs statisticians. It needs quality assurance testers. It needs project managers, and it also needs programmers. I don't want you to think in a unit, a kind of a one direction that I need to be the best programmer in the world. You want to be a good technology practitioner. You need to pick an area in that you like and you enjoy. Your job is fun. Also, this other aspect I would like to quickly bring across is when you're working in a software development or a technology industry, please realize that you're working with people. It's a skill that I see at times missing. College kids are very enthusiastic. They bring a lot of passion and energy. They're eager to learn, but they also have to realize they have to work in teams. Working in teams is the key component that will make you successful after your year one and year two in the industry. Your ability to go higher up in the echelons is going to be dependent on how much empathy and sympathy you're going to share with your team members. Technology is seen as, lack of better words, a person who's a geek. No longer so. You are going to be part of a team. You may be engaging with a marketing department, engaging with the HR department. You would need those interpersonal skills to understand the requirements, so that you can come to a team of folks who could be architects, programmers, testers, solution engineers, and you are going to devise a solution with them collaboratively. Though I have, I program for fun now and then with my daughter. She's 11 years old, but even now when I'm talking my architecture board, I'm an equal. They're contributing with an equal thought process, and any and everybody contributes. This industry, if I can leave you with this thought, is a very flat industry. You can pick up a Java code, write a class file. You can take that, run that in Egypt, Rio de Janeiro, Paris, or in Korea, or in Africa, or in any place in the world. It'll give you the same results. So you know, engineering wise, the technology won't fail you. You just have to come up and have the social that you can build multi-geography teams. You could be engaging with your team member up in South America. You could be engaging with your team member in Central Europe, in India, in Asia, Australia. So you guys are in a phenomenal spot right now. You are in the right track, in the right path. All you just have to do is pick up the area where you want to focus more. Successful. Anika, Delia, I know we only have 5 more minutes, so I'll just open it to questions.
So I have a question. How do you think we should go about finding that area in computer science that we like?
So a great question. It's a fast changing field. Jack Dorsey just gave up on Twitter. He didn't give up on Twitter. He completed what he wanted to do in Twitter. But when he first brought in the concept of saying that I'm going to just have so many lines to be broadcasted, people laughed at him, right? When Facebook came up with personalization, people said that's impossible. Makes sense. So this is an area where a lot of thoughts converge quickly, and there are a lot of thoughts which are challenged quickly. My request to you and to your friends would be, don't give up on your original thought. There will be something that will come from your heart, like, I want to do this. Continue on that. It will get challenged, it will get questioned, it will get laughed on, but just be patient with yourself. Pick an area, it'll come to you. You will realize that, you know what, I can do better quality assurance and quality control. And there are quality automation. There is AI and QA. When you have to test, we are using right now QA AI tools. Imagine, we talked about the aircraft. Imagine the aircraft has got fault tolerance mission control application that the pilot is using. When a pilot touches a button, he knows it's going to take off. It's going to land. There's no way that thing can fail. And now and then we get a page not found error, which is okay. We're not flying a plane, but that is so critical. That has to be tested. That has to be tested in the most stringent way. So whatever comes close to you first, subject yourself to everything. Think about quality assurance, think about programming, think about data structures, think about business analysis, explore more, talk to industry veterans. The other day, there was a lady who hit me on LinkedIn, and she wanted to know about how do you make a switch from engineering to management. She was from UAE, and I was happy to tell her, hey, these are how I was happy to share my brain trust with her, because it's just seeking out. Seek out in LinkedIn, seek out in professional networks, but most important, don't give up your thought or dream, what comes to you naturally, because the industry has got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, so a question that I got is, what can students like us do now to start computer science and, kind of like you were mentioning, pursue that dream?
Absolutely. So I believe, Anika, you guys are high schoolers, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
Sorry if I may ask you, if I should have known this, which high school is this?
Johns Creek.
Oh my God. You guys are just so close to me there. So Johns Creek is close to Tech Alpharetta. It's a local technology consortium. All areas are blessed with some local technology event happening. And connect there with somebody, find a mentor, be a mentee, seek out. Technology folks are very open-minded. I do not know about how successful it will be on Facebook or Twitter, but on LinkedIn, create a profile. Be proud that you are getting into the industry, because you're fresh, you're talented, you guys are excited, and we have to welcome you into it. So create a LinkedIn page, announce very clearly what you are, desires and dreams in the engineering realm, and connect with people. Search who's who, what are they doing, where did they graduate, what jobs they picked up. And Johns Creek has got the payment technology area. The payment technology capital of US is Atlanta, and Johns Creek is blessed with a lot of those companies. You're close to Alpharetta, wherein we have a lot of technology companies. Hit their human resources and say, hey, I'm a high schooler, I need a mentor. They will be proud. You know why?
It's 4 o'clock.
Because after 4 years, they need somebody like you. They are seeking somebody like you. They make a beeline to Georgia Tech, GSU, UGA, and they're like, oh, you're going to talk to me now? Awesome. We have a dearth of engineering talent right now. So, and you guys in the perfect spot. Reach out, seek out, make a LinkedIn page, ask people for advice. Folks like Tony, me, bring them in, let them hear about you, and be proud. As a high schooler, you can contribute, and it's unfair for us to expect that you can sit down and code in some multi-technology environment. It's for us to help you to be successful. Industry has to come for you, and industry knows that. Industry knows that we have to welcome young engineers, and we have to find. The good part is, in the end, it's a capitalistic economic conversation, and the good part is there is business behind it. It's not aspirational right now. There is business behind it. The tons of data we have, we need data analytics and data science people to understand what the data is. The cloud infrastructure that we have built, we need tons of network engineers to manage it. So the problems are out there. Reach out to the human resources, just like somebody reached out to me, and I was happy. There will be much talented people, many talented people than me, who would love to spend time with you guys. So keep doing what you're doing. I think you are absolutely on the right track.
All right, thank you. So I think we got another question. Do you have time to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Please.
you mentioned that personal skills and like communication is really important, but do you think that you need like a master's or a PhD to advance to like higher management positions in computer science?
So I have to answer that question very truthfully, because I do have a master, so I shouldn't discourage you from that. Communication, if you want to go higher in the management, it won't be the degree alone. Degree may help, but it is your ability to work with cross-functional teams, which will drive the reason for you to get higher up in the management. But during that process, when you know that, okay, I would like to go into technology management, during that process, you would yourself realize that, you know what, if I had a master's in computer science or a master's in business administration with a focus on information technology, it would make it more compelling. So you would yourself drive towards that, and the industry allows you to have a master's or work towards a master's while working full-time. They're very proud to help you support, and some companies in fact pay for it. And they pay, if not full tuition, they pay part tuition, because they want you to learn, they want you to grow up. It'll all come back. The company that helped paid for my master's, I had a lot of allegiance for that company. So they're happy to invest in that. Now the is a big commitment. It's a commitment of diligence. It's hard work. So if you want to do a PhD, you have to be absolutely conscious that this is what I want to do, because it is STEMist. It is true to its title. It is a doctorate in philosophy. So yes, it does help in differentiating you. There are studies wherein if you have a master's, your ability to navigate is better. But where you are in your careers, right? Sorry, not in careers, where you are in your educational journey, that would come to you naturally. It won't be the driver rise up in your careers, and you will know yourself if you need it or not. The only differentiation I'll leave at is some of you have a mindset of research. You know who you guys are. The mindset of research is best complemented with a PhD, wherein you're bringing a research or a patent out. Gladly, at that time, it's coming from you. You want to add to this. I want to create the next fastest motherboard or an integrated chip in the motherboard. I want to create a browser experience, or I want to do a rendering experience on the browser. So it's a chocolate layer. There are layers, layers, layers. You guys know so well. You have the base layer, the machine zeros and one operating system, all the way up to a client experience. Further, research bent of mind. You can also write a thesis. Like I did a thesis on browser abstraction for my master's, and it was a good research. But I realized that I want to be more working with people in the team and solving digital problems. So I chose to work. But few of my friends chose to do a PhD because they wanted to get into neural networks and cyber technology. And they are working in now in VeriSign because that's where their yearning was. So the beautiful part of this whole journey is if you stay calm, you stay collected, you just have to go ahead with the train ride and remember to have fun, right? This is you want to have a balancing. You don't want to crush yourself while doing it. Balance yourself with something. Is it a walk? Is it tennis? You guys know Johns Creek has such nice trails. Balance it out because it's going to come to you. It's going to come to you. You're in a great city. You're in a great country. All is find a good mentor. Work with a mentor. Sometimes your family can be your mentor. Sometimes it could be somebody in your educational system. It could be industry mentor, and continue the journey.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I think that'll be our last question for you. I don't want to keep you too late. So thank you so much to Mr. Tony and to you as well for taking the time out of your day to come present to us. I know I learned a lot and I really enjoyed your presentations. And so
Delia and Anika, thank you. My apologies for the delay. If there are any questions that you have and you want to talk more, my company is actually very close to Johns Creek. So you want to explore more conversation, I would love to help you, guide you. If there are areas in, there's not enough time. If there is areas in AI, digital sciences, machine learning, some of you want to, please do not hesitate. I would love to host you in my office when things are better and kind of have more discussion with you guys. So don't hesitate. You guys are what the industry wants. I'm so proud to spend this hour with you guys. So good luck to you all. And guys like Tony and me are only an email or text away.
yeah, thank you so much. So this concludes our seminar. Thank you to our guest speakers again. And if you have not already, take a minute to fill out a survey in our chat, in the meeting chat, so that we can better prepare our next survey. And you can also use it to join our mailing list, which we'll be using to mail out a recording of this meeting once it's been processed. So thank you everyone for attending and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Johns Creek High.
Thank you.